All right, so today I'm going to be sharing with you how to never run out of movement again. So you will have limitless vocabulary. So what do I mean by that and how can you do this? Basically, the first thing to understand is that when you are dancing, you want to be in a state of mind where you never have to think about the movement that you're going to be doing, the next movement that you're going to be doing. Instead, they should be coming to you very naturally. But often it's not the case because we overthink about, okay, what will I be doing in the moment, right? And we want to be, once again, in a position where we don't need to think about this at all. Let me give you an example. When you are talking, you don't necessarily think about the words that you're going to be saying, right? You just focus on the message that you want to convey, and then you let your words flow, right? And the same apply to your movement. You want to be in the state of mind where you're just letting your movement flows. So if the message is what you focus on, therefore the message is your guide. Therefore, there is also a guide when you are dancing, and that guide is the music. So the message is the guide when you are talking. The music is the guide when you are dancing. So if you are really aligned with the music, therefore you will not have to think about your movement, and you will trust that they will just be coming to you very naturally. So now, how can we make this practical? That's what we want. We want to make this practical so that we can just play with it and make it part of our dance, right? So let's go for this. So here's your first exercise. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you want to master the first 15 seconds of your rounds. If you control the first 15 seconds of your rounds, then you will make it way more easier on yourself for what's coming next, right? Because if you don't take the time to introduce your performance, and what I mean by introducing your performance, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be like you're starting calm and then you build up. You can also start very dynamic. It's up to you. But at least if you're consciously being aware of the first, I would say 5 to 15 seconds, it will make a huge difference in terms of how you're going to be managing your entire rounds. Okay? So now you might be thinking, yeah, but Nikhil, like if I only have 45 seconds in a pre-selection, for example, 15 seconds is too much. It's too much, you know. I don't have enough time, right? So if I take 50 seconds to introduce my rounds, then I don't have enough time to really make an impact in my rounds. And my answer to this is that's what you think. It's only a mindset problem and nothing else. Because let me give you this as an example. Let me ask you this. If you ask me a question, right, and I only have 30 seconds to answer that question, what scenario would you prefer? First scenario, you ask me that question, and I know that I only have 30 seconds to answer you, and I give you a rush answer. I just go fast and I answer your question and move on to the next person or something like that. Or second scenario, you ask me that question, I know that I've got 30 seconds to answer, I take 15 to 20 seconds to think about what I'm going to be sharing with you. And then I take 10 seconds to give you an answer that potentially would have a better impact and also really be valuable to you. Which scenario would you choose? Of course, you will choose the second scenario. Why? Just because I take my time to really think about what you ask me and see how I could serve you to my best capacity. You see what I mean? So you want to do the same thing when you're going to be dancing. Because if you rush it, chances are your entire rounds will be messy. But if you manage to take your time, right, and take your time once again, it's not going slow, right? You can also go fast, but it's just consciously you are paying attention to how you are introducing your rounds, all of a sudden you're like, oh, actually, I've got way more time. Because the last impact is the most important thing. But to build up to that last impact, even if you just have 20 seconds left to have that last impact that will make you pass, or that pre-selection or something like that, it's worth it to do this. But I'm not saying that just because you take your time, every time you will do your best rounds. But what I'm saying is that when you take your time to introduce your round, you increase the chance of managing your round to your best capacity possible. Does that make sense? So this is very, very, very important. Yeah. Now, I'm going to share with you now the exercise that you can do to just consciously be aware of your introduction. So the exercise is simple. You play the music and you start dancing for about 15 to 20 seconds. And then you stop, you play another song, and you do the same thing again. You are just getting into the habit of being aware of how you are starting. Just that. You don't think about the rest. The rest will come more naturally because you take the time to set the tone. Does that make sense? So let's give it an example. So I take my time. How do I feel like moving on that song? Then I stop. All right? And then you go back again. Another intro. Now I feel like starting like this. Yes. Then I stop, right? And then I can change. Oh, okay. You want to be really conscious about this. You're like, okay, I hear the music. What do I feel like doing? I stop. You walk a bit and you're like, okay, I would introduce this again. Okay, you know what? I feel like starting like this. Yes, I stop. And I promise you, every time that I'm being really conscious about how I start, then I literally have the desire to keep on going, right? And I had to kind of almost force myself to stop because I wanted to dance more, right? Because I make it easier on myself first by being conscious about how I start. It may sound simple, but this alone will help you get into the habit of being way more present with the music and yourself, and therefore you don't even need to think about your movement because they will be coming to you naturally because you've been practicing anyway. So when you are dancing for real, yes, it's not the time to think about those things that you've been practicing. It's the time to trust that your skills are there and they're gonna serve you when you need them. But for that to happen, you need to be in the right state of mind. Yes? And this technique alone will help you get into that state, right? And I still struggle with it sometimes because I'm like, oh, yes, I want to do well in that round, or I want to do well in that battle, and I forgot about this. The music starts, and I'm going, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? Because it's much harder to readjust when you are already in the middle of the round and you realize, oh, you didn't start by managing your round properly. You see what I mean? I'm not saying it's impossible to reconnect, but it's much harder to refocus, right? So that's the first step. Once you get that, the second exercise is the following. So the second exercise is the build-up technique. What I mean by that is once you start with the right state of mind and then you start moving the way you feel like moving on the music, yes, and then you will see there is a set of movement that you've been doing, right? And because you are already present, you're gonna be able to really notice what's going on here with your body. Oh, actually, that's what I'm doing here, okay? And once you have that, you start capitalizing on this, right? And then all of a sudden, you start building up from this, yes? But here's the thing with the build-up technique. You never force yourself to keep an idea long just because you think that's the best thing to do. No. You are doing this for now, and if you feel like, oh, actually, I want to change it. I want to change it, but it's being changed very naturally, right? And then I keep on doing this until I feel like, oh, actually, you know, I want to keep doing this now. I was spiraling with my hands, but now the rest of my body is taking over. All right, I keep on build up, you see? And even when I'm talking with you right now, I keep on moving and I'm changing the patterns, right? And I'm here now. Ooh, that's what I feel like doing. You see what I mean? And I'm just playing with this, and I never think about which movement is coming next. They're just coming to me. They're just coming to me. And you see the transition between one set to another is very smooth because I'm not thinking about it. I'm just build up on the last idea. And it just goes like this forever. It can go like this forever. It doesn't matter if it's 1 minute round, 2 minute rounds, or even 5 minute rounds. If I utilize the same principle, I can be limitless, or you can be limitless with your movement. Does that make sense? So now I'm going to do a demo where I play the music and I just be intentional with the intro, and then I let everything flows. I let everything flows, and you will see, just observe how I'm moving from one idea to another, and everything is like really smooth, continuous, and I'm building up on the previous idea. Then the previous idea bring me to the next one, and then the next one bring me to the next one, and just like that. Okay? So I'm gonna play the music. Let's go for it.
Good times when we work track, bad times when you can go back and reverse that. Find what I learned that. Searching, no stress from before. With any exits, and the X's and O's. A cold world, but as long as we know before we step in the code.
Right. So That's pretty much it. It's that simple. Now, some of you might be like, yeah, but Nikia, no way, I can't do this. I cannot do this because it's the way that you do it. I know if I start doing it, it's not going to look like that. And I'm going to say to you, yes, it's not going to look like that yet. But you have only one job, and one job only, to just focus on creating more awareness about your intro. Yes, the more you take ownership of your intro, the easier the rest will be. That I can promise you, right? I cannot promise you you will pass the pre-selection all of a sudden, or you will win the battle all of a sudden. I can't promise you those things. But I can promise you one thing is that you will be able to manage your rounds way better, yeah? Just by cultivating that simple approach, yes? But then, once again, when you try it the first time, it might feel a bit difficult, but you do it again, over and over again. And it's something that we can cultivate at any levels, right? It's not like, okay, that's only for a certain period of time and then you don't do it anymore. Yes, you can cultivate that at any level. It doesn't matter. You can still make the most of this approach, all right? And also, if you want to dive even deeper into that style of training, I've got a free training in the description, right? Just check it out and hopefully you will be able to find even more value because we go even more in depth with that type of practice, okay? And other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you on the next one, all right? Take care, bye.